Hello, everyone. This is Ross Carpri with Keller Williams Metro South, coming to you live again to discuss some issues and situations in the real estate business. And also, I have with me is Andy Gagliano with Gagliano Mortgage. And the topic that we're going to discuss today is existing construction versus new construction. Um, Existing construction, pretty much self-explanatory, is homes that have already built and completed. They might either be lived in or vacant. And usually, when a purchaser, and we're going to look at it from the purchaser side of the business, when you go to purchase a house, if the house is empty for whatever reason, maybe the seller's moved out or have taken on a new residence and left this one vacant, it's a lot easier to go in, find out if the home fits your needs, write an offer, hopefully get it accepted, and then you go through the inspection process and the whole natural process to get it closed. That's good. A lot of people too would rather try to find new construction. Now, to me, there's different parts of new construction that I think people need to be aware of. First of all, on some new construction, it is a brand new home. House is built, but it's not sold yet, and that's a good thing because that gives you an opportunity, if you're a visual person, to go into the home, see if the home fits your needs, if the floor plan's nice, and if the rooms are big enough, and the way the floor plan's arranged, if it works to fit your needs. Then you can do the same there. You can put in an offer on that property. If it needs carpet, if the carpet's not installed yet, you might get an opportunity to pick that color out, or it may already be selected. So you just have to see at that particular phase of that. And that's relatively simple too. It's just a matter of getting the home completed and then getting you into the home, enough time for it to close. Now, a lot of new construction, unless things have changed, a lot of new construction builders, they don't want homes that or buyers that has a home to sell unless you already have it under contract. And the reason they don't want to do that, they don't have any idea how long it's going to take your home to sell. It could sell overnight. It could take 3 months to sell. They don't want that risk. They'd rather know that your house is under contract and it's going to close in, say, 30 days. And then that gives them a better idea of whether they're even willing to sell the new construction house to you. That's a plus for you as a buyer. Now, where we run into problems sometimes is people want new construction, but the home is not built. Well, that's a totally different ballgame because you have to start from practically scratch. The builder has an idea of what floor plan he's going to put on that lot. And if you're at the part where you pick the lot out, you have to kind of visualize how you want your house to be arranged on the lot. What floor plan is it going to take to put on that particular lot? And how long is it going to take to build? Now, most build jobs, depending on the size of the house, I would say give it a minimum of 4 months. It might take 6 months if they're real busy, and a lot of builders try to have several houses started, and there's only so much manpower out there. But typically, I would probably say a minimum of 4 months. So you got to look at your situation as a buyer and think, okay, do I have 4 months? Do I have a place to live for 4 months? Or am I just going to sell my house after I purchase this home, and then I'll be fine there? If that's the case, then you're as good as gold. But the thing I want you to remember is it takes a while when you're building from scratch because they pick out the lot, pick out the floor plan. Then you have to go to the selection committees to pick out colors and what appliances you want, the colors of appliances, countertops, everything that you take for granted in a home, you have to pick out. Switches, color switches, color floors, color carpet, color appliances, what type of countertops you want. I mean, there's a lot to it, and that takes time. The main thing I would say is anyone that's going to build a home is be patient. Don't try to build it in 4 months. Let the builders finish it when they do, because you want it right the first time. And then, hopefully everything will work out within that 4 month period, and you can purchase the home and close on it and move in. Now, there's three different ways to purchase a home, and each one of them are entirely different animal. So we'll just be glad, if you ever get to that situation and you're not really sure what you want to do, just give me a call and we can talk about it. I'll try to get an idea of your time frame, what's best for you, what areas you want to be in, and we can certainly try to make that happen. But just know that there's several ways to do each scenario, and we can help you with that. And my number to call is 205-601-0123. And I have Andy Gagliano on the line with me as well, and he might share a few things with you as well, and kind of see if you have any questions for either one of us.
Yeah, thank you, Ross. Yeah, building a house can be exciting and frustrating. When I have people come in and talk to me about building a house and getting financing for the construction of it, or even financing for it after it's complete, if the builder's going to finance the construction part of it, I ask them if they're ready to challenge their marriage.
Yeah,
because that's usually
it's a test.
It's a test. There's no doubt, and it starts with the picking out the lot, and then it goes from picking out the house plans, and then you get into all the discussions about color. Well, we're spending too much on appliances.
Right.
Well, this carpet's cheaper and this will work just fine. Oh no, I've had my heart set on this carpet. So it is a challenge, no doubt. But it should be fun, and that's part of it. It's always nerve-wracking when you're going to spend a bunch of money, and that's what you're going to do with new construction these days. But like Ross said, having that piece of property that no one's ever lived in, having that home no one's ever lived in, that you feel like was built specifically for you. You got to pick the colors, you got to pick the carpet, the cabinets, the countertops. If you want to move a commode from over here to over here, you can do that, not a problem.
Right.
So that part of it's very exciting, and Ross was dead on when he said patience is the key. It really is. And what we look at with the financing part of that is there's a couple of different ways we can go about it. I already mentioned one of the decisions that a lot of people will have to make when they go to build a home, and that is, will you get the construction financing in your name and then pay that construction financing off with a permanent loan once the house is complete? Or is the builder going to get the construction financing in his or her name, and then you would simply just purchase that home with your permanent financing once the house is completed? So that's a big difference right there in how we approach financing for new construction. And really, what I tell people when they call me and they say, hey, we're thinking about building a house, can you share some information with us? If I have the time to spare right then and there, my next question is, do you have an hour to spend with me on the phone to talk about different options?
Mm-hmm.
Because that's really about how long it takes to go through all those options. Make sure that the buyers understand exactly what they're getting into when it comes to financing, how the financing and the construction, they work hand in hand. They're meshed together. If you're getting the construction loan in your name and the money is not there from the mortgage company for the draw that you need to purchase your framing package, well, you're going to be sitting there for a while. So that whole process relies very, very heavily on financing. And that's why I want to go through and just take time and lay out the options for the buyers, talk about the pluses and the minuses of each one, let them make a decision about how we want to proceed, and then we start moving into the actual approval process. So most of the time when I ask that question of, do you have an hour to spare with me right now? Most of the time the answer is no. So we end up having to reschedule or schedule an appointment to have that conversation, or even talk about it face to face. And so that's really the two big differences when it comes to financing new construction. And, you know, a lot of people will call me and they'll say, well, I'm buying we're building a house. And when I start asking questions, really what they're doing is they're buying a home that has been newly constructed.
Mm-hmm.
And so in that case, just like Ross said, that's as easy as it comes. That is, as far as your financing is concerned, that's no different than buying a home that's been lived in before by someone else.
Right.
We just line you up with your permanent financing and we close you out in 30 days or 45 days, however long it's going to take the builder to have everything wrapped up and deliver the home to you. And, you know, that's just easy breezy right there. So that's not as much of a problem, or I say a problem. There's not as much involved in that process as there is if you're going to be starting a house ground up. Yeah. and going from there.
Two totally different worlds.
It is.
And a lot of times I'll tell my clients, you know, if you do decide to build from the ground up, it's a wonderful thing. You can make it exciting because it is, you know, it's a brand new home no one's ever lived in. But I tell them, you know, you're going to have opportunities to pick things out. Most companies now have it kind of customized to where, you know, you'll meet with the design team Monday, and you'll go over all of the fixtures that we're allotting for that particular home, what they look like, and you're going to go over all of the switches, the light fixtures, the appliances, and all of that. And once you pick all that out, what I suggest you do at that point is leave it alone. Don't bother to go back to it. Don't bother to rethink it. Don't put much, because, you know, so many people want to make things perfect, and there's no perfect home.
That's right.
Whether you build one or not, it's not perfect. There's something that you're going to leave out, something that's going to be omitted that you didn't want to be. And that's just the nature of the beast, because there's a lot of moving parts.
Yeah.
But just leave it alone. Let them build it. You can go out there and look at it and check on it. Kind of makes you happy to see it come up from the ground up and starting to form the rooms, and all that's great and wonderful. But forget about design, because you've already established that. And the last thing you want to do is have to make changes to what's already been established, because then that's going to cost you a fortune.
That's right.
In change fees, and that's just not something you want to do.
Yeah.
So it's very important. It's a wonderful thing. If we let it be, then we're going to be better off.
Yeah. Yeah. So what, for someone who wants to build something, as far as the process goes, if they're wanting to do ground up, how involved would you as a realtor be in that process with them to get them through from start to finish?
Well, typically what I do is I meet with the customer, and we'll also meet with the builder, and we'll go over prices, we'll go over floor plans, we'll go over what what style do you like, and that kind of thing, to get an idea. And then if we have to, we'll go look at lots. We'll walk them off if we need to. The thing that I do is I make a lot of notes at that time, because people change.
Mm-hmm.
Things change. They may have said something they didn't think they said, or forgot I told you that, and this and that. So I make notes of everything and just make sure that we document everything that we do. Now, once we go out and pick the lot, builder make sure that this particular plan will fit on the lot. Then we'll go to the design, get with the design team after we write the contract, get the financing in line, get with the design team, and I meet them there at the design location. I'm not there pretty much to tell them what to pick out because it's not my home. But
Right.
I do want to make sure that they understand that if you pick this faucet and if you pick this one over here, it's going to be $1,000 more. People might think, oh, it's just $1,000, it's not a big deal. But if you do that 10 or 12 or 15 times, that becomes a $20,000 overage. And that's where people get into trouble.
It is.
You don't want to, if you want to do an upgrade, that's fine. But you have to be responsible enough to know that if you make 5 or 6 or 7 upgrades, each one of those is going to have their own little price tag.
Yeah.
So, and the main thing after we do that is just make sure that this is what they said they wanted. This is what everybody agreed to. And then we'll go on to the next phase. And that's kind of where we come in on that, is to make sure that we are their eyes and ears on the construction part of it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's important. It's nice to have that extra set of eyes and ears.
Well, it is. And the thing is, a lot of people, they're so captivated by the fact I'm buying new that they don't really know what's involved.
Mm-hmm.
And just like I said before, prime example is picking out fixtures. You know, you might pick out, now builder is going to have a package that's going to be maybe their basic package for that house. And if that works fine for you, there's nothing wrong with it. But there's so many people out there that try to make a spec home. They want to make it customized. That's where you get into your problems.
Right.
There's a lot of builders that will tell you, I do not build a custom home. One is because people's tastes are different, and the customer will drive a builder crazy with that, because the builder's got, okay, I'm expecting to spend X dollars for the flooring, okay,
Mm-hmm.
which could include carpet, hardwood, whatever, all the flooring together is X dollars. Well, you start customizing, then that carpet floor is going to turn into a wood floor. That wood floor is going to turn into a marble floor. And then and then as it goes along, next thing you know, you've got $20,000 tied up extra just in the flooring that he was going to provide for you at a certain price.
Yeah.
See, and then that adds up over time, because you got to get into fixtures, you got to get into the color, outside colors, inside colors, trim colors, things that you take for granted when you purchase a house that's already built. And when people can realize that and just let them build it, then you're fine. You're fine.
Yeah.
I have one customer that did that. They took my advice, they picked everything out, and then they walked away. Call me when you're finished. And that's the way it worked out the best for everybody.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, good deal.
Very, very interesting to do that. It's one of those, like, man, I've always wanted to build a house. Well, you still can. You just have to know that there's things that go along with that as well.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
And we're here to help. So however we can help you, we're here to do it.
Yep. Good deal.
All right.
All right. Awesome. Well, I enjoyed that. That new construction is always an interesting topic for me. So, it's one that I enjoy putting together. It's usually a longer process from start to finish for me too, on the financing part of it. So it gives me a chance to develop a little bit deeper relationship with the borrower as we go through that process.
Sure.
And, it's always fun.
And there's nothing more enjoyable and more exciting to build a house from ground up, to have all the financing in place, so that when the property finally does close, there's no hiccups, there's no problems, there's no overages, there's a way to do it, and we just have to be conscious of that and do it that way, and then we'll end up on the top side. So
that's right. Yep. Fantastic.
All right. Well, good
Well,
deal, Andy. Well, thank you so much for joining me. And folks, again, if you have any questions for me, my number is 205-601-0123. I'll let Andy give you his numbers, and you can contact either one of us if you have any questions.
Yes, I can be reached at 205-979-4412. I'm at extension 1. I'll be
Perfect.
glad to help out.
All right, bud. Well, look, until next time, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Ross. I enjoyed it. See you next
All right,
time.
see
All
ya.
right. Goodbye.